go ahead and get it started. Hopefully more people will start to trickle in as the time goes. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. It is a pleasure to be speaking with you all today. My name is Cadelia Troublefield. I am the Deputy Project Manager that has been assigned to this Wake County disparity study. On this call with me, I do have our legal partner, David Maher, who is here for support and to answer any questions and add to the presentation or answer any questions that you all might have. So just to start off, Wake County government has partnered with Griffin & Strong, PC, which is a law and public policy consulting firm based in Atlanta, Georgia, to conduct a disparity study and comprehensive analysis of Wake County's current objectives and policies related to minority and women-owned businesses. It is Wake County's intent to render a diverse and equitable business environment that will benefit all its vendors and ensure that public contracting opportunities are equally available to all businesses. So right now, this public hearing is a part of the disparity study process, since we do have a part where we collect anecdotal evidence and like to hear the experiences and the stories of those local business owners that are inside of the Wake County government. The main thing that we are focusing on is to hear any experiences that you all might have doing business or attempting to do business with Wake County government. We did have an informational meeting maybe a few months ago. So if you all were not on that call when we had that, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of this disparity study, what it is. And yeah, so just give me a few moments so I can share my screen with you. Okay, so as I did say, this is a disparity study conducted on behalf of Wake County by Griffin & Strong for it will be released in 2023. This is the first virtual public hearing. So a little background about Griffin & Strong. As I mentioned, we are a law and public policy consulting firm based in Atlanta, Georgia, specializing in disparity research, contract compliance, supplier diversity implementation. We are a firm with more than 30 years of experience in disparity studies, in which no study has ever been overturned or challenged in court. We have 4 Juris Doctorates, 2 PhD economists, a PhD in social psychology, and a PhD in anthropology that serves on our team. So briefly, if everybody does not know what a disparity study is, I will just go ahead and inform you of that. So a disparity study, it is an objective research tool that determines whether there are disparities in the governmental agencies' procurement activities of certain groups. For our case, it is for race and gender groups, but other studies can be used for certain groups for other purposes. But the studies that we conduct are governed by a certain area of law, and it's meant to determine whether if there is a factual predicate based on those disparities for race and gender conscious programs. We determine these disparity studies through quantitative and qualitative, which you all are a part of today, evidence, as well as an examination of current policies and procedures. So a little background of why we do disparity studies. Disparity studies, they were a creation of the courts based around having these race and gender conscious programs, which began to happen over 30 years ago. where the federal government had the set aside programs and states followed suits having similar programs, which were then challenged in court. As a result, from this case, the city of Richmond versus Croson, this was the first time that the court said that basically to have these programs, you have to demonstrate the existence of disparities specifically within that region or the study area, and not relying on just societal discrimination as a whole. The cases after helped form the methodology because the course basically didn't tell us how to conduct these studies. So we conduct these studies and they show that these studies are conducted to show the factual predicate for these programs. The courts also said that any recommendations that were race and gender based have to be narrowly tailored to the findings of this factual predicate. The H.B. Rowe versus Tippett case, this is the controlling case within this jurisdiction. So a little bit into the study process. The reason why this study is being released next year is because it takes a little over a year to get through every step of the disparity study. It starts off with a legal analysis, which is where we look at court rulings and follow methodologies based on those court rulings within the study area's jurisdiction. We then take a deep dive into Wake County's policies and procedures. We then collect and clean data, any data given to us by the county. After that, we then determine the relevant market, which is the geographical parameters of the firm's locations that we are including in the study. This is followed by a utilization and availability analysis, which basically helps determine those disparities. They look at who the county is spending their dollars during the study period that we are given. And then it's compared to the ready, willing, and able firms that are in the marketplace. If those numbers match up, then it's parity. If it's less than that number of available firms percentage-wise, then there is a disparity. We then look at what's the likely cause of that disparity, which is doing a regression analysis to see if this disparity is caused by the race and gender of the owner. We do a private sector analysis, which is analyzing what is happening in the marketplace outside of Wake County government, which is essential because it looks at other causes for disparities, and it looks at self-employment and credit market disparities as well. And then we also have the anecdotal evidence collection and the analysis, which, like I have said, is today you all are a part of that. The anecdotal evidence and collection is extremely important, is an extremely important vessel of the study because it's about you all as being the public and the business owners within this area. You all have experience with working with Wake County, or you might have experience, or you wanting to get experience. So really this anecdotal evidence collection, it hones in on listening to the voices of the business community, figuring out what works and what could be better. After that, we will write up the final report, which includes what we find throughout the study and any recommendations, whether they are race and gender conscious or race and gender neutral. So as of right now, this is our projected timeline. We started in the spring. In the summer, we had our informational meeting. We launched our website. We did policy review. We also started the quantitative data process. Now in the fall, we're conducting the quantitative analysis. We're still collecting anecdotal evidence. And we have a survey that is live right now, which I will be sharing a link with you all at the end of this presentation, so that if you haven't completed it already, then you can complete it. And then by next year, early winter, within like February, we hope to have the final report ready and present and do presentations in February. So I just want to once again focus on the anecdotal evidence and community engagement process of this disparity study, since public hearings is a part of that. I want to let you all know of how you can and like what this anecdotal evidence collection consists of. So we start off with the informational meeting, letting the public know about this study, you know, and then we have anecdotal interviews, which is where we have somebody to sit one-on-one personally with a business owner and speak about their experiences. We have the survey of business owners, which I just talked about. And then we have public hearings, which is one of them that you're a part of today. Focus groups, which is kind of like anecdotal interviews, but it's more of in a group session. Organizational interviews, which is where we reach out to those local organizations that are hands-on with businesses in the Wake County area. And then we have a designated email and a designated website, which is where people can stay connected with us and just to keep updated about what's going on with the study. And also, if you are not comfortable with voicing your opinion or your experience in a public area, then you can, you are more than welcome to email us. So how to get involved? Right now, you all are involved, and I want to thank you again for coming on. Other ways you can be involved is if you're contacted for an anecdotal interview, please accept. And then also if you're contacted for a focus group, please participate in that. You can also complete our survey of business owners. Once again, I will drop the link. That survey has been up for a month now. It will be closing soon. So we do encourage everybody to send in survey responses. And then also you are more than welcome to email any comments at this study's designated email, which is wakecountystudy@gspclaw.com. I will also put up these links and emails inside of the chat room. Okay, and then you can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and on our website. And then also on this study's website, you could contact us at wakecountydisparitystudy.com. So before we start the public hearing part of the of today's meeting, does anybody have any questions they would like to ask? No. Okay, then. So we're just going to go ahead and just start the virtual public hearing session. The purpose of this hearing is to hear candid testimony about your experiences, both positive and negative, either doing business or attempting to do business with Wake County government. Everything said during this hearing will be available for public record, but GSPC's final report will not publish the names, business names, or other affiliations of individuals who give testimony. We are not soliciting questions, but commentary only. Additionally, we will not be responding to questions or commentary at this time, other than to try to gain additional clarity to your comments. And then when providing comments, please begin by saying your name and business name clearly for the record before beginning your testimony. So, and also you can take, I would say maybe about 5 minutes, and then just to give everybody a chance to speak. So yeah, that is all for the presentation, and now we can start. If anybody has anything, any comments they would like to share, we would love to hear from you.
Hi, good afternoon. I can start.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Kristen.
Yes, I'm Kristen Williams. I am the founder and CEO of the Amalgamation, located here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So in terms of Wake County itself, there are two big processing issues that we've run into as we are a collective of small businesses that are all certified DBEs. And when it comes to Wake County, the two process obstacles, one, the website for RFPs and RFQs is not updated regularly.
I'm sorry, you're having like a little audio issue. It's like I hear an echo behind when you're talking.
All right, is this better?
It's still an echo, but it's a little bit better.
Sorry, I don't think my computer likes Zoom. Can you hear me better right there?
It's still there, but it's okay. You can continue talking. I can still hear you loud and clear, though. It's just the echo in the back.
Okay, I apologize. So the first is that the RFP, RFQ, anything on the Bid Opportunities website is not updated regularly. So if you go on there today, there's a lot of old bids on there. So you have to scroll through, find the title.
Excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a very distorted echo when she's speaking. So I'm hearing her twice, and it's not clear.
Okay, I'm gonna hop off and hop back in to try to save the audio.
Okay, no worries.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It was just distracting.
Yeah, it's no problem. It's no problem. I told her that there was an echo, but I think she's gonna join us back soon. While we wait, does anybody have anything they would like to add or speak on?
Janet Howard, Fertile Ground Food Cooperative in Raleigh. First, Wake County was quite receptive in our initial conversation with them. What we found, being a food cooperative owned by the community, Southeast Raleigh, which is the traditional segregated quadrant of the city, in the past that is being gentrified. But that's where our food cooperative will be located, and the majority of the members are from that area. We will own our grocery store. Our concern, which is one not only related to the county, it's really a national philanthropic and governmental concern, is that some entities do not qualify if you're not a nonprofit. And even if you have a fiscal sponsor, then there are just so many hoops to jump through to receive some governmental and fiscal and philanthropic funding. So that's a concern. We'd like the county to look at cooperatives, especially those around food security, a little bit differently. And then the final concern we have is that often when federal money is available through partnerships, that some of the partners, no, not often, partners from low wealth, BIPOC businesses and organizations have difficulty getting the information and then being included in those kinds of funding opportunities. So ways to get that information out more quickly and more directed to those particular organizations will be helpful. And we thank the person who was having the audio problem, because her concern was keeping the website updated, and that would be very helpful for us all.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Howard. So, Ms. Howard, are you a nonprofit?
That's interesting. The top of the answer is no. We are a for-profit food cooperative, as most of them are, as a grocery store. But as we know, the profit margin For grocery stores, even the big ticket ones, the Krogers, the Harris Teeters, the profit margin is usually 1 to 2%. If they're hitting 3%, it's they consider themselves doing extremely well. But for food cooperatives, it typically takes 5 to 7 and sometimes 10 years for the cooperative to even turn a profit. But the great thing about the profits for cooperatives, and especially food cooperatives, is that the owners decide how they want to use any profit after we've paid our bills. And that includes scholarships to students, that includes sometimes a discount on your food purchases, or it could be, expanding, it could be teaching, providing youth with opportunities to learn more about cooperatives. So that was a long answer, but we are not a nonprofit food cooperative. But I wanted to give you some backstory because we are not profit driven.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much for the clarification. Ms. Kristen, I do see that you will join back with us. Would you like to speak some more with what you were saying before the audio kind of messed up?
Yes, let's try this again. Can you hear me?
Perfect. That's perfect.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. So what I was trying to say is there's 2 basic process issues with Wake County that puts DBEs at a disadvantage, or at least the DBEs in our ecosystem. And again, we're called the amalgamation. The first is that the bid opportunities website for Wake County is not updated regularly. So if you go on it today, there's bids from September, and it's not clear, right? So you spend a lot of time on the website, you got to click through the title, see if it's passed, right? So it just seems very outdated, and I don't know how much attention it's getting. The second is more of a broader issue, not just for Wake County, but Wake County is pretty guilty of it. And that's requiring paper copies, which can get very expensive very quickly, especially if you've got to print multiple copies, have them professionally bound, ship them, make sure they get there on time, etc. So those are 2 basic process issues. In terms of being a DBE in general, but specifically for Wake County, we're often relegated automatically as subcontractors, which puts us at a huge disadvantage contractually, because primes then, of course, own the contract and the contract terms. And so 3 big issues that we're seeing on that front of being a subconsultant within Wake County is 1, being used as a DBE token for a prime so that they get the work. And then often we don't hear back. So there are actually people within our organization right now who were put on a proposal, did the interview, the prime got the contract, and then they never gave the sub work. And there's really no clear accountability for that. Or even how you can report that. The second issue within subconsulting is having your scope stolen. We're seeing an increase right now in the prime contracts that are essentially putting in the contract that they can steal your scope, and that if you have an issue with it, you essentially have to file a grievance with them. We've seen that actually twice in 1 week with 2 different primes, which is putting, again, DBEs at a disadvantage. And then the third is late pay. So we're seeing an average right now between 9 and 12 months of getting paid by the prime. I know, that's my face too. When we know by public record that these primes are getting paid generally within 30 days from government agencies, Wake County included in that. And so again, it's no accountability structure as a result of being a small business. And then of course, if you want to sue, or any kind of litigation there, you're going to have to put up the resources, and then you're blacklisted, right? So you're going to lose future work anyway. So we're just kind of out here hoping that we're working with a suitable prime. So I'll shut up. I know that was a very long answer, but I wanted to give you as much info as I could. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. That was very substantial. That was great information. Thank you so much for sharing that. Can you go into detail about your business? You said the amalgamation. Is that correct?
Yes, the amalgamation.
The amalgamation. There we go. Okay.
Yes, so we are a collective of small businesses across the country, certified DBE in some way. So businesses owned by women and minorities mostly at this point, but also veterans. And essentially what we're trying to do is take all these disparity studies and from the results, figure out how to empower ourselves so that we're not reliant 100% on government agencies that don't have the resources or capacity to meet these DBE goals, or large firms, because good faith effort loopholes have allowed them to get around the DBE goals.
Right.
So we're flipping the script and saying, let's empower ourselves and address these inequities from the grassroots level. So we're uniting DBEs across the country to build our networks. And specifically within, I should note, within the professional services sector, because as soon as you get certified DBE and they have any kind of matchmaking opportunities, it's all construction, which great for construction, but not all of us are in that, right? So we network and create opportunities for the people who are really just left behind once they get certified. So we fill that gap between certification and government contracting.
Gotcha. That's actually great work that you all are doing.
Thank you. And if anybody on this call is interested, just reach out. Love to hear from you. But part of what we also do are calls like this to be advocates and raise awareness, right, to what we're seeing. So I'm representing right now on this call 16 individual firms that all agreed that these were the primary issues.
Great. If you want to, Miss Kristen, you can drop your information in the group chat, just in case if anybody wants to connect with you later. You all can use the group chat for networking if need be.
Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity and the work that you're doing.
You're welcome. Would anybody else like to add on or have any additional comments or any feedback, positive or negative? It doesn't have to be about issues. It can also be about anything that you see as positives that Wake County government is doing. So would anybody else like to add on or have any other comments? Not everybody speak at one time.
A question. Is it appropriate now or wait?
You can go ahead.
This study, does it relate? I know you gave an overview in the beginning that I listened to. You may need to just refresh my memory. It applies to policies as related to any contracting with businesses, profit or nonprofit, or that's my understanding. Is that correct? Or do I need some additional information?
David, do you want to answer that question?
Sure. Generally speaking, it's the policies and procedures for any of the purchasing that's done by the county. And so some of that information may not relate to the disparity part of the study, but it is all collected. So again, anything that is being procured or purchased by the county will be a part of the study for the study period, which is, I believe, the last 5 years.
Okay, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Sure. And again, that's in all the represented work categories. That'll be in construction, architecture and engineering, non-professional services, and goods and supplies.
Thank you again.
Thank you, David. And thank you, Ms. Howard, for that question. Does anybody else have any other questions or any comments?
I have a question, not to take over the combo. Can you talk a little bit, if there is any coordination with how this study will inform, overlap, or anything with the study being done by the city of Raleigh?
Yeah, sure, I'll take that. Excuse me. In some sense, there will be no relation between the two, but as you probably have anticipated, the outreach and the surveys and things like that are going to reach everyone who purchases, both in the city of Raleigh and also in Wake County. And so one thing that we do find is that depending on who does the study, the availability of some of their data and their information may vary. And so the data may be useful, but it is unique to the study. So the data that we received from Wake County is exclusive to Wake County's purchasing, although some of the firms that that are contracting with Wake County might also contract with the city of Raleigh. And so in that sense, there's going to be some overlap in outreach and reporting and data, but for our purposes, the Wake County study is exclusive to purchasing done and contracting with the Wake County.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Sure. And as an aside, I'll just point out that sometimes that's one of the challenges we find in some of these studies when there are multiple studies going on in a region. So for example, if the state of North Carolina was currently doing a study and Wake County was doing a study and Raleigh is doing a study, there's sometimes it gets to be a little bit of overload in the business community, and sometimes you don't get the level of participation that you want. I don't think we're in that position here, but that is one of the concerns we oftentimes have.
Hi, can I just, this is DeQuanta. Can I just say something right quick?
Yes.
I definitely agree with the overload of studies and everything with the disparities in the community. And I'm not familiar with any of you, so I'm sure you may not be familiar with me, but I'm actually one of the mayoral candidates in Raleigh right now. So and I'm vice chair of the Health and Human Services Board of the county. So I have both ends of the spectrum right now when it pertains to the disparities in the works and everything that you are doing. So this Zoom is great, but if you can send me some written literature, that is a lot better for me, because I have to fine tune and keep separated the city and the county's information. So what you're doing is great, and being able to have these type of appeals and provide the information is amazing, but it is an overload.
Sure. And one thing I might recommend, Ms. Copeland, is that when we did our informational hearings or our informational meetings at the beginning of the study a couple months back, which was recorded, there was a PowerPoint which kind of laid out exactly what it is that we're doing. And so those recordings are available. And so that may help you to better understand what this particular study is looking at. And it'll give you if you're like me, I like hard copies of things. So that'll give you kind of a hard copy where you can say, this is Wake. And then you possibly can get some information regarding the Raleigh study and keep that separate. But that is a source of information that might be available to you, is our PowerPoint presentation for the informational meeting at the beginning of the study.
Oh, well, yeah, that would be phenomenal, because at the county level in Wake County, we're also hosting our disparate groups. We have newly formed committees of a collective group from different sectors that we're working on these issues as well. And our grouping is pretty new from our retreat that we had at the end of August. So I want to keep everything separated and the information and the way it's going. So hard copy is definitely best.
Okay. I did just drop the website in the group chat, just so you could check out the website a little bit more. And then it also has a recording from the informational meeting on the website, the link to the informational meeting on there. So you could check that out too. When you say hard copies, what exactly would you need necessarily to kind of differentiate the two from Wake, to differentiate the different studies?
Well, just like David was saying, being able to, because I'm not sure if I was in a previous group. I do know I was in a group that did an introduction of these disparate studies that was coming around. So I'm not sure if I was in that particular one, but to have that PowerPoint of what the study focus is once we pass this meeting, that's what I mean by hard copy.
Okay, no problem. Yes, Miss Janet.
I have another question, but I would like to wait until other people have given their comments. So I just want you to maybe make a little note, but would rather hear people's comments before I ask this other question.
Okay, yes, no problem. I do see Miss Frances has joined us, Frances Forney. Hello, good afternoon. Is there anything you would like to speak on today?
Good afternoon. I'm trying to get a full and greater understanding of issues that pertain to our youth, especially in the eastern part of the city. I don't see a lot of activity and ways that they are able to participate in activities and events from a community and social standpoint, if it's not closer to downtown or even some other sections of the city. So I'm constantly looking at what I don't see. So I see some things missing when it comes to involvement and inclusion. So that's my focus at the moment. And I apologize for being late to the meeting. And out of that, I'll listen and see what I can glean from that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have a business, Miss Frances? If you don't mind stating your business.
I pastor Image in Him Ministries.
Yes, ma'am.
This summer I worked with a small group, and I say small group, it was our inaugural small group of young people in the community with board games. And 4 times this summer, we gathered on Saturdays on the outside, had board games, had lunch and discussion on various topics. So I'm trying to, again, see how best I can serve the community of our youth, in addition to, just other ministry type things that I commit myself to, or commit the organization to. Thank you.
You're welcome, Miss Frances. So this disparity study, it is solely focused on contracting opportunities and making that equitable for business owners, minority and women business owners within the Wake County area. So we necessarily wouldn't have like a say in terms of like the youth issues that you're discussing, but that is good to know. Maybe that could be something that we bring up to Wake County government about your about the comment that you made. So thank you so much for your comment.
Well, I'll share this because with engaging, and again, in this area of the city, I look at how many of our youth are challenged with getting employment, the types of support that will help to cultivate them and learning about the workplace environment. So I will say that I can still glean something from this. And that as we're looking at even minority businesses, how can they impact those that will come or influence those that will come before, after them, as being self-employed, having their own business, and again, partnering with anyone, especially in the minority community, and being gainfully employed.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for that comment. That's great insight that you gave. Does anybody else have any more comments, feedback, positive or negative, or things they would like to see different that Wake County government does?
Have you guys contacted Wake County? And if so, what division are you working with? Or is this just a study to gather information to take to the county?
Yes, so we are contracted by Wake County government. So we're working closely connected with the Wake County government. We are specifically with the procurement department, the finance department. I'm trying to think. Yeah, but mainly solely the Wake County local government system.
Yeah, Cordelia, if I could add to that. So to further answer the question, we get our data directly from the county. We've had several meetings with them to make sure that we can access as much of their data as possible. And then when we did our policy interviews, we met with decision makers and people who carry out policy in the procurement and purchasing division, but also, as Cordelia pointed out, finance and legal counsel as well, the county attorney's office. So we are in close contact and close cooperation with the county, and they are the source of our direct information. But of course, we do some outside review of policies, procedures, and other kinds of statutes that may affect purchasing with the county.
Okay, thank you.
Did any of the other callers that are on the call that haven't spoken yet, does anybody else have anything they would like to say? Christian, right? I did see you just unmute yourself and you muted yourself right back.
Me?
No, Christian, right? I'm sorry.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, Cadilla, how you doing? I appreciate you posting this meeting. I'm just the director candidate. I'm working at the same point right now. Again, I really appreciate this meeting.
I'm sorry, you're a little bit low. Can you speak up just a little bit more? Or maybe if you're far away from the mic.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you hosting this meeting. I'm working at the same time while I'm listening, so letting you know I'm not ignoring you.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But as of now, I'm just starting out contracting, doing a lot of handyman stuff. I have not worked for Wake County yet, specifically. Just building up skills, and got into this meeting just to get some info from you guys, seeing what's going on in the city. So I appreciate you again.
Thank you so much for joining us on the call, and all the luck to you and during your contracting process.
Thank you so much.
Mhm.
All right.
Anyone else have any comments? Anyone that hasn't spoken yet? Yes, Ms. Francis?
To know, how is this study or any other study that has been conducted regarding disparity, how will you use those findings to provide, encourage, and support more opportunities for individuals, especially in this environment in Wake County where individuals are just being priced out, whether it's rental space or whether it's, living space. You want businesses, small businesses, minority businesses to be a part of the community, but really they are being priced out.
Mm.
Can I speak to that?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
So that is a city issue more than the county. The county only controls the taxes of those acts. The actual land and building and everything, that is the city. So it will require a partnership between the city and the county to best utilize the opportunities, because the county is who provide the resources for human service things like paying for rent, paying for taxes, paying for utility bills. But the city is the ones that will build and work with the developers to create that space. So that's a two-part, and it will require a strong partnership.
Would you say that's a suggestion that you would have?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I definitely
That's very
agree.
important that you bring up the tax issue as it relates to property, because then when individuals are considering purchasing property versus renting, again, there may be less of a chance for or options in that purchase space than in renting, and the dollar still becomes a great factor.
Right. And also, being able to obtain quality housing is one thing, but being able to sustain it is another. And we have a lot of despair in the Wake County, Raleigh area, because homeowners who have been homeowners for years, 20 plus years, are being pushed out because they can't afford the taxes due to all the development around them and the amenities that are coming. So that's a advocacy from the city to the county to provide resources, but who oversees the taxes will be the county, but the ability to purchase will be on city. So that's why I stated like that definitely should be a direct focus for a partnership opportunity.
Thank you so much for that insight. This is all good stuff that you all are saying. Great stuff, actually. So we are in the last minutes of this public hearing call. It ends at 1. I would like to give this opportunity to give anybody else the time to speak if they have anything else they would like to say.
Well, my comments, I have two quick ones. One, I'd like for the county to think about when it's providing services to the community, whether it's youth services, training services, that they look to, I would call boots on the ground partnerships, as the Reverend spoke of earlier, to assist their staff to reach those probably most needy constituents that boots on the ground organizations have with the community. And then the final comment is I'm looking forward to the results being able to show. You talked about not only the dollars spent contracting, the dollars spent based on the type of business, but the total dollars available. It would be nice if you could also include there how many small BIPOC businesses there are that could have participated. Oftentimes, only those who know can participate, but if others know and have more training, if that's kind of fuzzy, I'm happy to follow up later to more better explain the kind of data that would really help make a decision about access.
Okay, yes, ma'am. When you said training, you meant like the county providing resources maybe for small businesses or anything of that nature to have like better. Go ahead.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. You know, if we know we have, I'm going to say 100 small BIPOC businesses in the area, what percentage of those actually participate? And could we get more participation if we directly reached out to them and do more training about how they can access contracts? Understandable?
Yes, ma'am, that is understandable.
Can I
Okay.
see her comment as well?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lead you guys training today. So when you state, and I'm sorry, your name didn't pop up on my screen, so I don't know who to address. But when you stated for the county to connect with the boots on the ground, I'm a very active community advocate. And one of the issues that we have in the county is actually getting people to show up. So we host meetings monthly. We have a meeting every Thursday for the board. We have public speaking times, and no one shows up to speak. And, you know, if you know of those, then, you know, people come in and we refer out or we call names, but showing up with the boots on the ground, I am in those rooms because I showed up. And I didn't stop showing up and I didn't stop speaking. And to see the need and to speak on the need and want to be part of the solution has been key. And so I know through my nonprofit organization as a candidate for elected office here in the city, but on the county level being vice chair, getting people to actually show up. The county is not lacking resources, but people are lacking the knowledge of the resources available. And a lot of times, I've worked with the county manager, David Ellis. We've had meetings with the internal and external communications team so that we can better address how information is going out. Because if you don't know what you're looking for, then you don't know how to find it. So being able to trigger those things that people can easily, accessibly find information has been major and something that I advocate for very strongly. But once it's out there, showing up for it has been key. Or the lack of those that show up for it. So in groups like this public appeal, you know, you guys are doing the research and you're going to find and you want to, but if no one logs into this Zoom, your job is still done. And that's mine.
I'll jump in. This is Kelsey Walker Pope. Like DeQuanta, I also sit on the Wake County Health and Human Services Board. But for today, I'm just representing my organization that I am employed by, which is the North Carolina Minority Economic Institute. But my field, my focus is more of in the health arena, public health. But just to piggyback off of what DeQuanta mentioned, it's also important that we, for those who may not have a seat at the table, it's important to make sure that we offer various times for people to join, because, you know, for some who are working, you know, trying to take care of their families, it may be difficult to jump on a Zoom during the day. So being able to be flexible and not make it where it's convenient for us, but to offer opportunities for those who have a voice in the community, have a stake, to be able to have the opportunity to participate.
Absolutely. And being very versatile with the audience that you're trying to reach. You know, so often organizations, even such as this meeting, you may send out and some see, but where else was it posted? I got it in an email and I just so happened to be very attached to my emails. But I don't know anything about a meeting before now, and I don't know how I missed it, because I do show up. So, you know, being versatile and understanding that different things are going on and pulling. So that is key too. So thank you for pointing that out.
And I would like to co-sign on to that. Someone did share in this email with me, and it came from someone within county services. No offense, and I do want to preface what I'm saying. I'm a little astonished at the number of participants. That was something that caught my eye. So somehow, if we're asking for participation from communities, from the various communities, from the various representations of individuals who live in the city of Raleigh, information has to be received by those who can not only benefit, because then we see an imbalance of people who will take advantage of every opportunity. Others are left out, and they're left out because they don't have the information. So some way, there has to be some method that can be employed to get information out to individuals who have interests, who desire to participate.
Okay.
Yeah, excuse me, we appreciate that input, and just to, again, we kind of do a shortened version of our presentation at the beginning of this, but that's the reason that our community outreach has so many different aspects to it. There are the public hearings, there's the surveys, there's the website, there's email. So if people aren't able to attend some of these more, you know, for lack of a better term, more formal meetings, there's always an availability to reach us and to participate. And so there, again, there'll be focus groups, there'll be more public hearings. And then at the end of the study, there will be presentations made publicly as well. So we try to include as many different ways to participate as we can. And some of those will involve daytime, some are evening time, and some don't really have a time or date to them, because again, we can be reached on the website or by email. So that you raise very good questions or very good concerns, and that's why we do the extensive outreach that we do. And we always invite people to talk to some of these representatives in some of these community groups to make sure that they know this is going on and that there are ways that they can reach out to us.
Yes, thank you so much, David, for your input. And thank you all for everybody's insights and comments and feedback that you all do have. We, as David mentioned, about us having this extensive amount of outreach that we do. Tomorrow, we will be having another public hearing around 7 to 8 o'clock, just for those people who cannot make this one. So you all are more than welcome to, in the flyer that you all received in your emails, there's that link. So I cannot find that link right now on me for the for tomorrow's public hearing. So if you all know of any business owners that would like to share anything, then you can pass on that link for this for the public hearing tomorrow. And you know, yeah, we're still doing this. We're in the midst of the anecdotal collection. We're still doing outreach and everything. Doing it. And then I also just dropped the link inside of the chat room to our survey that we are encouraging you to please fill out. Yeah, that's pretty much all that I have. It is after 1 o'clock. If anybody has any other final comments that they would like to add, this is the time.
I do real quick, Cordelia.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys capable of finding like a small team, like a social inclusion purpose kind of team, to incorporate what everyone's talking about, all their concerns?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear based on the background.
Are you guys able to fund a small team, like a social inclusion, like a grassroots kind of thing, to reach the people that can't be reached, people that are really focused on working all the time and just trying to make it out here?
Yeah, again, one of the ways that we try to do that is to reach out to community groups that oftentimes have their kind of tentacles into the folks who aren't really as attuned to what's going on at the county level. So, for example, you know, whether that's the chambers of commerce or whether that's, say, the NAACP, they tend to know what their members and kind of satellite members know and have access to. And so, yeah, we try to involve those groups so that they can reach their members and their members can reach people who maybe are not yet members of their community groups. And so that is an effort to get to the grassroots level, I think, that you're asking about.
Yeah, and just to add on to what David did mention, in the slide that I showed about the community outreach and engagement, a part of that, we do organizational interviews trying to reach out to those organizations that are hands-on, like David said, the Chamber of Commerce, and then we also have reached out to the local NAACP chapters and other types of organizations within the region so they could reach out to the public, maybe add flyers or this information of the events to any newsletters they might have, just to reach out to their membership. So we do try and reach that grassroots area, like you mentioned.
Last question for statement, I guess. Is it how would one get involved in something like that? Say if they were interested in community service and maybe wanted to just bring everything a little tighter together, a little closer together, just bring some understanding to just level things out. How would someone get involved doing something like that?
I didn't hear your question fully. David, did you hear the question?
I did not, I'm sorry.
So how would someone get involved on the state level? And
you said how would someone get involved in the state level?
Like that part of the community service, how would someone get involved to help out, to be like a contractors and state level employees? How would someone just try to get in there, I guess?
I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty. It sounds like you're kind of in a tunnel. I'm getting every other word.
I'm just going to attend the meeting to try that.
Perhaps he could put his question in the chat directly to the moderators.
Yes.
Does that work better?
Yeah, that would be helpful. And then there are a couple, while we're waiting on Mr. Christian to put his question in the chat, there are a couple questions inside of the chat room. Does the county have via business licensing info the names and contacts for all county businesses along with size? If so, invite everyone. David, would you like to respond to that question?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I've not been involved in the collection of some of the data. And so we can kind of circle back and try and find out from our data people whether they've collected licensing information. And, you know, because again, a lot of times your licensing information comes along with your certifications. You know, when you seek to be certified as an MWBE, oftentimes they'll also ask about what kind of licensure you have, what kind of licenses might be required for particular bids. So my answer is I'm assuming that we have done that. I just don't know that in particular with Wake County.
Yeah. Next question. Thank you for sharing this time. Will you share a copy of this session with participants? So yes, this meeting has been recorded. We will be posting this onto our website. We'll have a link whenever everything is finished, when both of the public hearings are finished. Both recordings will be uploaded to YouTube, and then the link will be available on our website, which is, I'm gonna put it right back in here. Yes. So WakeCountyDisparityStudy.com, that's where you can go to view the recordings on there whenever they get posted. They're not up there just quite yet because we're doing this one, and then we have another one tomorrow. And based on those, there could be a chance we have others, but that just depends on the participation that we get. So, but these recordings will be uploaded online.
And just to finalize this, Mr. Wright, if you don't have an opportunity to have your question answered, you know, because we're done here, please go onto the website or the email and just shoot your question to us so that we can, you know, correspond with you about it.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the email just so I can get it correct. The email is Wake County Study at gspclaw.com. That's the email. If anybody would like to, if anybody else has any questions or comments that they didn't get answered today, you could email that email. I monitor that email regularly, so I will be looking at your emails. And then here is mine as well, just in case. Okay. All right, so that does go ahead.
If
Yes,
you don't
ma'am.
mind, I just have one other quick question. Has this group or any other group looked at any gaps in services that is needed that can be filled by anyone who is looking at starting a business? Has that ever been considered or looked at?
It is, in a way. It's difficult to collect data on things like that because you're asking for intentions rather than actual efforts. But as part of the private sector analysis that one of our economists does, there is business formation information, financing information, you know, loan application information, things like that. So oftentimes that will be picked up in that portion of the analysis. But again, it's difficult to reach people who may have started a business or would start a business if there was a different environment. That's sometimes very difficult to measure. But those who have tried to start a business or get financing oftentimes will be picked up in that private sector analysis.
Obtain that type of information?
I'm sorry?
How can I obtain that information?
Sure.
That you're describing?
Well, to the extent that it is collected, it'll be a part of the final study report, which is public. So you would be able to obtain it, you know, through the county once we deliver our final report.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. There was one person that just joined. As soon as she connects to the audio, I'll just tell her that if she has any comments or concerns. Hi, Miss Lasagna.
Yes, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay.
We were just about to wrap up this call, this public hearing call. Did you have any comments or any feedback you wanted to give regarding doing business or attempting to do business with Wake County?
Yes, I'm so sorry for the late response. I just checked my email, but yes, I am. I don't know if you all probably already covered this in regards to doing business with Wake County, but it is so hard to use that Google, to get on to do the bidding war. How do you offer classes in regards to the bidding, how to do bidding with them, or how to successfully obtain a bid with them?
So we are just contracted just to do this disparity study. We're not necessarily a part of Wake County government to help out with their contracting and bidding processes. So if that is an issue that you've been having in regards to bidding and not having enough resources or not knowing what to do and how to with the bidding process, that would be something that we could note inside of our disparity study and give recommendations to.
Okay. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and just to follow up on that, I think Cadelia, covered it well. But when we see these kinds of things, we make recommendations to the county at the close of the study. And so if what you're describing is something that several small businesses are having trouble with, certainly we might make a recommendation that they either provide some kinds of outreach or classes or simplify the process. It could be as basic as something like that. And so yes, we are collecting that kind of information so that we can make recommendations to make the process work for small businesses and MWBE businesses.
Yes, thank you so kindly.
Sure.
Miss Lasagna, can you see the chat room?
Let me see who's in the chat room.
I just dropped like some links in the emails and the study website in the email in the chat. I'm sorry, for anybody who has any additional comments, and also to complete this survey that we also have going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is just that's the link I just sent out for surveys for our survey business owners. So you can go ahead and complete that if you have not. Okay, Mr. Christian, I just received your response, and I will email you. David just wanted to he wants to be a part of the efforts regarding these things and wanted me to offer any insight on how he can be a part of that. That was his question that he had.
No problem.
Okie dokie. So yeah, does anybody else have any heart-burning comments that they would like to get off their chest before we wrap this up? Okay. All right, so if that is all, then I would like to conclude this public hearing meeting. Thank you all so much for coming out today. It has been great speaking with everybody in this past hour. We had a lot of insight, a lot of comments and feedbacks that will be very useful to our study. So once again, just thank you, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.